Hello and welcome to this Game Pit Stop for Legendary Encounters, an alien deck building game designed by Danny Mandini and Ben Cichoski and published by Upper Deck. In Legendary Encounters Alien, each of the players is going to take on the role of an avatar being put into the alien universe. When you choose your avatar, it's going to give you a special ability, it's going to give you a certain health and armor value, and it's going to give you one special card to put in your deck at the beginning of the game. Now, why do you need this health value? Because the first thing that happens on each turn is the complex activates and we have a hive phase, and the top card comes into the complex and comes into play. As you go through, if more cards need to come in while there are already cards in the complex, these cards will get pushed along and eventually they may well drop down into the combat zone if you haven't been able to deal with the issues up here. When they drop down, they flip face up and then you get to see what you've been facing. Once they're in the combat zone, the enemies don't have the chance of damaging you and taking down your health. And if ever all players in the game have had their health reduced to 0, then you're going to have lost to the alien threat. So what can we do about this? The next thing is the action phase. All the players begin with basic cards of grunts and specialists, as well as our own special card. And they're going to give you one each of the two resources in the game. You've got attack and you've got recruit. With attack, there's two things you can do. As these cards are coming along, they're blips on your radar face down in the complex. You can pay a certain amount of a tap to flip the card over and see what's coming and facing it. Once it's flipped over, it becomes active. You can now fight this before it gets a chance to fight you, and there are various other things which we'll have a look at. With your recruit points, you're going to be able to come down here to the barracks and recruit any of the cards. Now, the game has got various cards set up, but you can set up to follow the first 4 movies of the Alien franchise, which means that the Hive deck will follow the story, the objectives will be linked to it, the location will be linked to it, and also the 4 characters in the barracks will be linked to it. In this case, I've set it up for Alien, so we've got a chance to recruit from Ripley cards. When you look on here, it's got a crew status, and this is the member of the Nostromo, it's where we are. And you've also got abilities up here, classes, and you're going to be able to trigger cards off each other according to the classes. But basically, when you buy them, they go in your discard pile. It's got a cost of 2 here, so you have to have 2 stars in your cards at least. And it's going to give you a chance for 1 attack when you play it, when it cycles around your deck. And you get to look at the top card of any player's deck, and you may kill it or put it back. We move along. Here, Ripley's got first aid. Now, it's worth 2 recruit points. However, we're talking about those classes. If you have previously played one of the survival cards here with this red symbol, you may also heal a strike from any player. Those are wounds which are going to come into play, and we'll see how that works. You're also going to be able to recruit Lambert cards. Again, this is one that coordinates together. If you've played another tech card before this one, you may scan any room, and that's the scanning we were talking about. We're turning cards face up and having a look at what's coming at you. Another Lambert card has got coordinate on. There's a basic card which is available to players, which is the Sergeant, and that always costs 3, and it happens. This coordinate costs 6. Coordinate cards sit in your hand. On another player's turn, you may choose to play it for the effect, and you get to draw a card into your hand. So it's basically a free play, and that one will give anyone 3 attack on their turn when you choose to play it. We've also got Parker, who will help you repair the ship here, and some of these cards interact with other things on the board. In this case, if the power station is clear at the end of Parker's turn when they've played this, they get to draw an extra card. And the 4th character in this first Alien setup is Captain Dallas. And he's got a combo of these Nostromo crew members, which they all are in the Alien setup. And that's going to let him manipulate the barracks deck to some degree. Now, once you've gone through your action phase, you're going to go and see if there's any aliens in the combat zone. And if there are any, for each one that's in there, you're going to have to draw a strike card. And that's how you're going to get damaged. And the strikes come in varieties. You might get lucky and have a close call, and that will cause you 0 damage. You might get a flesh wound for 1, up to a massive blow to do you 5 at once. But there are various other things, like this contaminated puncture is with 3, but that can never be healed from those card effects we were talking about. And all these different cards have got different effects. There's 4 for each different character. Other things that might happen, like a double slash, which will cause you to draw another strike. Somebody help. If a player can coordinate with you and can play one of those survival cards that actually gets to cancel this 4 damage, you can see you're always working together. Or maybe the dreaded facehugger. Now, the facehugger is one of the unique mechanisms in this game. When you draw a facehugger, you've got your turn and the next player's turn to do 3 damage to it to get rid of it. If you don't get rid of it, it turns into a chest burster. Now, the good news is that while you've got a chest burster in your deck anywhere, these aliens will no longer strike you and you can't get any more facehuggers. The bad news is if you draw a chest burster, you're automatically dead. Now, when you're dead, you are either out of the game or you can play an advanced variant whereby you get to draw an alien card and you become part of the alien team and you have your own alien deck and you can play these cards to attack the other players, and that makes it significantly harder to win. At the end of each round, you're going to clean up, draw back up to 6 cards, move on to the next player. They're going to take the turn. We're going to go round and round. So we've talked about how you lose if all the players lose their health, how you're going to win. If we look at the hive deck, that's going to tell us. So these are normal aliens which are going to attack you, and they've got an attack value. When you hit them for that hard, they're going to die, and they all have their own individual powers. Like this Xenomorph Stalker can't be hit if there's a hidden card next to it, or the Camouflage Xenomorph can't be hit on the turn in which you revealed it. But other things will happen in this deck. Skittering Xenomorph, for example, if it's in the complex, it turns face down again, so when you scan it, you have to hit it immediately. Shedding Skin Xenomorph is much more difficult to kill when you get down to the combat zone. A Twin Mouth Xenomorph is going to cause you 2 damage. Now, here's one of the objective cards. They're not all aliens that are in this hive deck. This is an objective which comes down to operations. These hive deck is split into 3 levels for the 3 objectives you have to solve during the game in order to win. And the 2 parts in this case of the SOS are both in the top third of the deck, more or less. And when they both come out, you move on to the second objective, move on to the third objective. And each objective in the game has got a unique way in which you're going to be able to solve it. These events are linked to which objective you're in. In this case, at the very beginning, it's a rough landing and each player draws a strike. But if we had completed the SOS, we move on to no one can hear you scream. In this case, the event is the next player discards 2 random cards from their hand, and so on and so forth going through. There are also hazards. There are 3 for each of the scenarios, and that's where your location counts. For the first one, for example, add 2 hive cards to the complex immediately, and as you go on, these will harm you in different ways. There's an egg that never moves. Now you choose when to strike that. It's always blocking up the complex, but if you don't strike it, then obviously it's always going to continue to cause you a problem. However, if you do strike it, you get one of those face huggers. In terms like Jonesy there, if you reveal Jonesy when it's going through the complex, you get to take that and recruit it. But if it gets it all the way down here, it's become infected and then it starts to strike you. Here's the perfect organism. Now this is linked to that 3rd objective, and you need to defeat the perfect organism. However, the perfect organism cannot be killed unless the airlock has got the airlock controls attached to it and it is in the airlock. So you're going to have to allow it to move through to get here, and you're going to have to knock it backwards again. Here's the airlock controls, the objective 3. You attach those to that room, get the perfect organism in there, kill it, and then you're going to have won this game of Legendary Encounters Alien. Now, there is one other way to play the game, and that's with a possible traitor mechanism. And if you choose to play that, you're going to shuffle up cards equal to the number of players in the game at +1. Most of them will be good agendas. You'll have 1 evil agenda in there. And you're going to deal those out, and you won't know whether there is an evil agenda in the game. One of the players might be a traitor working against the group, and if that's so, that again makes it significantly harder. However, in this hive deck, there's always some random drone cards that go in there to mix up each time you play with the same scenario. Instead of some of the drone cards, you get secrets reveal cards, which will force players to reveal which side they're on, and you may well work out who's working against you if you take on that challenge in Legendary Encounters, an Alien deck building game. This has been a Game Pit Pit Stop. For more videos like this, please check out the Game Pit channel on YouTube. And for more in-depth coverage of gaming, please find the Game Pit podcast.